Hello everybody, and here should be the last one for today unless I come across more things that we need to talk about. So the basics of it is going to be evolve trees, cards, and hero artifacts, or goddess artifacts as they're also called. The entirety of this video is going to be kind of detailing what makes a good build great. These things can make you an insane player. Now, the whole basics of how you get these is you go to your, not G tab, your clan, you run your clan, you do your clan dungeon, and you get these materials. Obviously, some of you have done these, but it's not exactly known how important they are until you actually get deep into what this is. So, here's an example of your evolve tree. Now, all of these other ones actually give you the stats when you unlock them. So it's useful to unlock every single one of them. Because, for example, if I'm running this one right over here that gives me 4% toughness, let's say I go up here. I'm still getting this 100 to 300 attack, 200 crit, 200 dudley. I'm still getting these stats. These are static stats that I'm being granted as I'm powering up. So unlocking more of these is actually useful instead of just unlocking the ones that you need. However, you need to make sure you have at least one of these unlocked based on how you play. 100% one thing you definitely need. Now this is my endo hero, and everyone knows I'm a toughness hog, so I go for toughness. And then attack and HP is kind of like oh hey, that's an added bonus. But one thing you want to pay attention to is what type of cards these use. Each card is different. So, for example, this one uses 2 attack, 2 PDEF, and not 2 PDEF, 4 PDEF, and 1 MDEF. So as you run these, you'll notice, okay, this one has 4 NDEF and 1 PDEF instead. This one completely flip-flops it all around, so you have an even based line on this. So each one is different. So choose based on the cards that you personally have. Now to the cards themselves. Each one of these cards has a different grade and a different stat line. On top of the fact of whether or not they're attack, MDEF, PDEF. I can't remember. There's another one. HP, that's the other one. So, for example, this one over here. Really decent card. You know, it has some toughness on it and a percentage stat. The percentage stats are amazing if you can get more than one. I have one that has more than one. I'll show you it here in a moment. Now, here's another one that's also a very good card. The grade on the screen usually tells you how strong it is in general. So the higher the grade, the better the card usually. Keyword usually, because there's some bad cards. For example, this one's a higher grade than my other attack card, but it actually has worse stats. So you need to make sure you read these and know what you're going for. So, for example, your endo hero, you want to go a little bit more attack and beefy and toughness. So a lot of my stuff here has crit stats or toughness stats. As you can see, there's a couple little defensive ones because, you know, it's a defensive card lineup, but I'm still balancing it out to where I want it to be. For example, my Exo, I need to remember which one it is. You want to run defensive on this, obviously. There's a couple cards that don't quite fit just because I don't have enough cards to flip around. This one. So here's an example of an amazing card. Because it has parry and minus damage as a percentage roll. And it's on your Exo. So that stacks on top of all of your normal stat lines. Which means this is an amazing card. Now, you see how much power this gives? Almost 6,000. Not including any outside rolls, anything else granted to you. So now imagine if I had one of those in all of my other slots. I'd be sitting on an extra 45 to 50,000 power in just cards and pure stat lines. Same thing with these also. On your evolve trees, you can unlock all of these. You get all the stats from them, no matter which ones they are. Just pay attention to which ones give which cards. Mine has HP, MDEF times 3, plus damage and minus damage times 1. Some of these other ones change. Like this one has 4 plus damage. If you're going for a glass cannon Exo, that one probably would be better for you. Or if you're going for this one, this is more of a tanky line instead of a balanced line. So if you're looking to be a fucking tank, go for it. have at this one. So each one varies as you go along. Just make sure you pay close, and I mean close attention to these rolls. And as you upgrade these, the percentages get lower. So let's say you're running a 15 over here, and theoretically, let's say this one over here. Let's say you're running these two on the same one. You want to get this one leveled up to like level 6 to 9 before you start pushing a level 12 to 15. It's the same way with runes. You want to make sure it's balanced out so you're not wasting a bunch of resources on one stat. That's the main purpose of this series of videos, actually, so you understand where the balancing takes place. It's kind of a pain at first, which is why we're explaining this. So you want to find your best cards for each ability. So tanky cards you want to throw on your Exo. For your Endo, you usually want to run attacking, crit, toughness. Toughness, obviously, I will always preach is an amazing stat to have. If you have questions about cards, you can always ask just about anyone. Sayo and I and Ellie and everyone. We all have been focusing cards a little bit more lately, so it helps out quite a bit. And that's pretty much it for cards. Next thing we're going to talk about is your artifacts. This is another spot where you can gain a ton of stats or lose a ton of stats if you know where to go. So the basics of this is you equip different sets on different heroes. Yes, I know I'm missing a ton of goddesses. I had to break my character a while back. So the basic lineup of this is fairly simple. You have different things and you have different sets. So let's say, you're worried about your Exo surviving a little bit more. It's just a little too squishy. This is where you need to pay attention to the stat lines. So for example, we'll just go to Pandora's box, because why not? No, wait, no. That's not the proper relic. Okay, no, we're just going to go to Alibaba's dagger. So their ability right here, if you can get all the HP stats, you get 33 HP percent. Just by filling it up. Fill up that little bar over there, and you get a ton of HP. Now, this is where I've noticed a lot of people have issues. Everyone likes their Exo toughness, however, when you bring up the weapon skill, you do not get a toughness percent from upping this. So it is pointless, and I mean pointless, to push if you're close to being out of blood. Goddess blood affects your chance in getting positive rolls. It's very, very important to pay attention to the correlation. Because some people, let's say I'm going to do this one. Actually, perfect example. My goddess blood is way too low to get my HP up to 60. So what it would do is I would have to do rolls and lower each individual stat. And then raise my HP. And it's a very painstakingly long situation where you need to line it up proper the first time, or you're going to be doing a lot of recovery. Now, Exo is the only one that has this scenario where it changes the stats of the rolls. Some of these are dodge, some of these are P-def, some of them are minus damage. The only one that really matters on your Exo is that HP one, and getting the 500s on like the toughness and stuff just because you have a little bit extra stats. Now, when it comes to your character, Endo, and Deploy, this is where it differs per class. Now, for a summoner, I have the full set of Olympus Glory because what the Olympus Glory set does is this holy skill right here, where it gives a plus damage effect for units and attack and all of that. All of these stack together. So, an example, I have 4 of these, so it'll be 12% damage and like 15% plus damage, which is absolutely insane once I get all these holy skills activated. But also, there's another thing you have to look for. When you're going for these, you have different areas you can focus again. Now, it all varies on the person. From person to person, it changes. However, I strongly go for toughness and attack for these. Because, first off, you get PvP from the attack stat on character. And then also you're getting 10% toughness from the third bubble, which is at 1,000. So you get the 1,000 toughness, you get 10 for 2. 16% extra toughness per one of these. So you're looking at about 64% of a toughness boost just from having all 4 of these 1,000 activated. So obviously it's a nice buff. And then the attack obviously increase will be very nice too. Now, would I advise increasing the others? I would say yes, a little bit, just because, stats are nice. But those two are the best focus for character, in my opinion. Deploy, honestly, it just gets your sloppy seconds and leftovers. Since I've been focusing on fixing these, it's not as useful for me. So Endo is another one where it's kind of like character, where you want to rail people. So you need attack, toughness, and maybe a little bit of crit. It's kind of in between. It's your choice there. But it's the same sort of stat lines to where it's, you're getting 6% attack boost for 1. And you're also getting 12, 6, and 2, 20% toughness boost from each of these once you hit 1,000. So that's 40% toughness and an extra 12% attack. Just from getting those bubbles filled, not including the holy skill. You just need to make sure you watch your goddess blood. Like this one's 35%. I might be able to make it from attack to 2,000 and toughness to 1,000. But it's going to be very painstakingly long and close because I have too much stats in other areas. Which, it's perfectly fine to work on over time. It's just giving you guys the background on what exactly each of these do. Now, the only sets I know for a fact you want to have is Saccharin's Relics, or the Exo Hero Epics, so this kind. You want that on your Exo. 110% Exo. Now, it varies by class for the character and Endo. Usually people like to run, I believe, Odin's Blessing on Endo for the attack buff at first, and they'll also run it on character for the PvP boost that applies to your character. But over time, we will honestly shift it to each person's abilities, but this is just a general guide so you guys understand why we're pushing where we are and where to push if you haven't done this before. So yeah, that's pretty much it for you guys. This has been Phantom. Have a great rest of your day.